Welcome to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And today's guest, how appropriate. We're in the trenches with La'el Collins, Cincinnati Bengals, free agent signing from the Dallas Cowboys. And this guy is a big, physical, imposing offensive lineman that's going to set a tone. There's no question. His physicality will be contagious. He is going to invert the line of scrimmage in the running game. He is going to be the bodyguard, the personal protector for Joe Burrow. Takes great pride in that. He's won at every level of football, high school, collegiately, and now in the National Football League. Bengals are glad to have him. He's glad to be here. You're going to like what Collins, my man LC, has to say. Welcome once again to In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. As always, we're coming to you from our outstanding studio. And man, do we have an outstanding guest, and it's so appropriate that it's In the Trenches because this guy is the man in the trenches. La'el Collins with the Cincinnati Bengals joins us in the trenches. And right away, La'el, thanks first of all for doing the podcast with us. And
thank you for having me, Dave.
You're LC. You're the man. And the very first time you met the media, I'm the bodyguard. I'm going to take care of business. I'm taking care of things. We have a bodyguard in the trenches. All's good in my life.
That's right, man. Absolutely.
So, what do you look at yourself? What role do you come to the Cincinnati Bengals expecting to fulfill, big fella?
My presence as a player, man, and as a person, as a guy in the locker room, being one of the older guys in the room, just being able to share my knowledge, my experience with the game, and just kind of helping the young guys understand that, I know it's tough being a young guy and trying to get caught up to speed, trying to learn so much at one time, but I came from under the same guy, so. Hey, just come to work every day with the right mindset and work hard, and you'll get everything you're looking for. So, I just try to encourage the young guys and just kind of try to lead by example. Just go out there and be consistent each and every day.
And like you said, experienced veteran presence, Ted Karras, Alex Cappa, yourself, LC. I mean, what an infusion of veteran knowledge, experience, leadership. Guys have Super Bowl rings hanging off their fingers. Your presence, as you said, at every level that you played football has been dynamic, and we're excited to see that here in Cincinnati. The offensive line room, how is it? You've been around some really good offensive lines. You know what it's supposed to look like. I know it's in the early stages, really the infancy stages of you guys establishing your relationships and how you're going to interact with each other and the rest of your teammates, but do you project it to be a pretty strong room?
Absolutely. When you look around, for one, just starting with the guy in charge, Coach Frank, just the type of coach that he is and the mentality that he coaches with. I think it starts there. Obviously, I think highly of him. I think he's the best offensive line coach. Well, not think, but I know he's the best offensive line coach I ever been around. So when you have that type of coach and you have that, what comes with that is the fact that he knows exactly, what he's looking for in guys. And I think now that, he's had a chance to be here and get a chance to handpick some of the guys that he want to bring into this organization and help this football team win, I think is big because you know what those guys are about. Those guys love football, and you can feel it in that room. Like, the way we work, we have fun, we enjoy ourselves. Like nobody's sitting around and upset about the work that we're putting in or saying this is too much or that. You got guys that's really buying in and guys that's, looking to come to work and improve each and every day and make the corrections every day. So I think when you have a combination of those things and the mindset of Coach Frank, when all that comes together, that's when you start to see something special happen. And I think just watching the tape from last year and just seeing the way we're able to communicate already, just because, obviously experience is huge. So when you're able to have experienced guys, those guys already know how to communicate because we played a lot of football. So I think, a combination of those things is what is going to help us be the type of offensive line that we're going to be.
Yeah, at this point in your careers, I'm sure no defensive configuration is going to surprise you. You guys have seen just about everything you can possibly see out there, and so nothing will stun you, take you by surprise. That's a huge factor in keeping poise under those situations and all that thing, all those sort of things during the course of a game. We talked about this before in the locker room, LC. My first offensive line coach, I was very fortunate to have a guy named Bill Tiger Johnson, who was an all-pro center himself, the San Francisco 49ers back in the day when Y.A. Tittle was quarterbacking with the 49ers before he went to the Giants. I'm in the Wayback Machine now, but this guy was a hell of a football player. And as a result, having been there, doing it, he understood the techniques to try to apply and teach guys and not ask them to do things that, man, that's pie in the sky. That's unrealistic. He was always very realistic in what he was doing, and he was very tough on guys, but he wasn't tough on guys to punish them. He was tough on guys to make them better. And that seems to be what Frank Pollack is. He's demanding. He'll push everybody, but there's a reason for it. And you understand there's a reason for it. And, man, having your first offensive line coach like you with Frank, have that kind of an experience, that's gold, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the difference in having a 5-year career versus having a 10 to 15-year career. That having a guy like him early definitely, I feel like, helped prolong my career in a lot of ways, just based on everything that I was taught early. And at the end of the day, for me, when you understand a system and then you understand that it's your job to know your job, and it's your coach's job to help you know what to do as far as how to do your job. So you know your job, and it's his job to teach you how to do that, how to do your job. So he's a great coach, and he's great at that. He for every block there is that we have, that's technique for that. And he speaks in detail each and every day on, hey, when you're blocking the end, you want to do this, you want to do that, and it's details from the ground up, and those things we continue to work each and every day. So come game time, you've done it a million times. It's just second nature.
You're speaking. I love the language you're speaking here because, like you said, not only what you're supposed to do, but how you're supposed to do it, and then why they're asking you to do that. And Bill Tiger Johnson I'm talking about, he was like, look, I don't want you to have tunnel vision, just what you're doing. I want you to know why we're asking you to do it. And if you're a pulling guard, I want you to know it's the tackle blocking down, it's the center reaching, there's a backfield. What's going on around you, man? I don't want you to just be tunnel vision. I want you to understand like you said, the entire scheme, the entire process. And that's when you get good as an offensive line. And that's when you can play more than one position. That position versatility factor comes in because you understand the big picture, not just tunnel vision, of one position. And you've done that, LC. You've played guard and tackle at a very high level, at the highest level in the NFL, and at a very high level individually. Do you think that is a big asset you bring to the table? And do you prefer tackle over guard, or do you have a preference?
Honestly, Dave, I would say, I love playing tackle. I just love, there's something about being on that island.
Yep.
One-on-one against, freak of nature. You know what I mean? A guy that's standing 6'4", 6'3", whatever it is, and he's running 4.4, 4.5. Right. And I'm on an island with this guy one-on-one. I just enjoy that. But for me, I'm a football player, and so it really don't matter where I play. I mean, if I was a fullback, if I was a guard, probably wouldn't want to play center. But other than that, man, I mean, anywhere on a football field, I'll go play defensive line. I mean, I just love playing football, man. Like that's just that, and that's the type of guys Coach Frank loves. He loves guys that love ball. Because if you love ball, then everything. You put the work in, it becomes easy to me. I mean, that's my experience.
Right. Unfortunately, Alex Cappa pulled a muscle, I guess, in the core muscle, and it's gonna cost him a couple of weeks or whatever. But have you guys already progressed in terms of getting a feel for each other at that right guard and right tackle position?
Absolutely. From day one, I believe when those guys came up and signed, I was here because I was, obviously in the negotiations and everything like that. So we had a chance to all, sit down and meet each other. This was before I even signed, but I already knew I was coming here. I know it's just a matter of getting the details done. But just sitting down with those guys and just talking ball immediately, I already knew that those were the type of guys I wanted to be around. And I think as an offensive line unit, you want to have guys that, you want to have guys that can kind of, that comes natural. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I mean, ideally, you would love that chemistry to come naturally. And so for us, like the moment we all me, Ted, and Alex, we sat down and met each other all for the first time. I mean, it was almost like we had been playing together before. You know what I mean? And just because of the experience that we've had, and just the experience, just from playing the game. So being able to talk ball with those guys, we already know certain things, like just from cutting the tape on. We see certain blocks and the way we need to block certain things. Me and Alex, we're already saying, hey, yeah, I would look at him, he'll look at me, and we'll be like, yeah, I like that. The way we do this, right? Yeah, we'll do this like that. Yeah, this is how we're gonna do it. So I mean, it's like that, man, and it's awesome when you're able to kind of have that chemistry already, and know that this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. This thing is gonna be special for a while.
Yeah, I mean, having played, with guys for a period of time, there's nothing better than in a game where you have the unspoken communication. You just kind of look, give a wink or a nod. You don't even have to say anything.
I don't have to say a word.
Yeah, you know what each other's thinking. You just kind of,
Yep.
confirm it. You just do a little
That's it.
conversation. Yeah, we're good.
That's it.
It's
Absolutely.
that's when you got it cooking. Yeah, how big a factor? You were a Bayou Bengal at LSU. Now you're a Cincinnati Bengal in the National Football League. How big a factor were the Bayou Bengals that were already Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase? How big of a factor in your decision-making process with those two guys as potential teammates offensively?
I mean, you cannot look at this team and not, think about those guys. Those guys be the first guys coming to your mind. Guys like Burrow and Chase and Mixon. Those guys, man. You can't look at this team and not see those guys. So for me, especially, obviously those guys, they went to LSU and everything like that. I mean, that is special. That is very special to me, and that means a lot to me, honestly. Like that I get a chance to play with some former LSU guys. That means a lot to me. But I think what impresses me the most is just being able to have had this time with them up until this point and just watch how they approach it every day. I mean, they're pros. You see it every day, and I've been around a lot of the great ones. From early on to now, and just seeing the way they work. The way Chase work out, the way Joe works out. I mean, those guys actually they grind, and and to be fair, Dave, I mean, and you've probably seen it too. I mean, you see guys that have had success, and and sometimes it just comes, it's natural ability, but we all know that if you don't work hard, then, hard work beats talent each and every day. So those guys have the talent and they have the work ethic. So for me, it's like that really was just like the icing on the cake when I was able to just see how they go about it each and every day. And man, these guys are they put the work in.
It's funny when I hear you talk about those guys, I reflect back to a conversation I had with Frank Pollack about you. And Frank Pollack, the respect that you have for Frank Pollack is reciprocated. I mean, he has tremendous amount of respect for you as a football player and a person, and everything you were talking about, the work ethic, being a pro's pro, not taking your God-given talent for granted, but trying to embellish and improve it, every single day and become the best you can possibly be. He said, Lap, you're going to love this guy. This dude is a tone setter. He is physical. He's smart. He's got it all. He's a tone setter. I'm like, dude, let's bring it on. Let's go. That's great.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to a little background on LC now as an athlete, football player. Let's go back to the high school days in Baton Rouge, Redemptorist High School. You were
Yes,
all state, all conference there. Jeremy Hill. You blocked for Jeremy Hill in high school, right? Former
that's
Bengal.
right.
So that's a pretty strong program, and you were high school All-American, parade All-American, you name an All-American team, USA Today, whoever, you were the guy. So you came out of high school highly recruited and could have gone anywhere. Why'd you pick LSU, my man?
It was just always home for me. It was always just special. I think my 10th grade years when I got my first offer, and it was from the University of Tennessee.
Wow.
And I remember going home telling my mom, like, hey, I got a scholarship offer from Tennessee. Going to Tennessee, I'm going to Tennessee. But I mean, I never really had like any expectations. I can't tell you I had any expectations on, where football could lead me, because I started playing in 3rd grade, and obviously I was a lot bigger and stronger than a lot of my peers at the time. But when I got to high school, it was kind of like one of those things where obviously I was ahead of my time in my age group, but I was still young to the guys that had already been there. So
Sure.
These guys have already been developed. They've been in the weight room for a few years, and now, yeah, I'm a good player, but these guys are strong. They're fast. So I think probably, so I get hit in the mouth as a freshman by older guys, kind of like that doesn't tell you that you got a promising future in football. So it takes time, and I think after my freshman year, obviously my sophomore year, I come in and I have a big year. My sophomore year, I'm starting. I've had a chance to get into the weight room for a full year, and just really just grind and understand the game, and then to see a coach come up to me and tell me, hey, we have a scholarship for you over here if you would like to come to our university. And coming from where I come from, I just couldn't even think that far. So
Right.
when I got that scholarship offer, man, it was something special for me. And when I got that one, I realized, well, hey, obviously LSU is like gold in Louisiana. So it's like one of them things where, like, man, if I got a scholarship from them, then hey, maybe I can get a scholarship from LSU. So the moment I got that first scholarship and it was out that I had it, then that's when every scholarship started to come. So from there, it was like, all right, well, I know I want to go to LSU. I was a big fan of Saron Black at the time. He was the left tackle at LSU. And obviously they had some success when Coach Saban was there, and Coach Miles, they won a few national championships. So everything was on the up and up. So for me, man, it was a no-brainer that I wanted to go there, especially because I took my first visit out to USC, and Tyron was my host. But that plane ride was the first time I think I've ever I think it was probably my first plane ride, and it was
Really?
like, it was like 3.5 hours long, and I was and I was sitting in the middle seat.
Ugh,
I had two people inside me, and I'm just kind of sitting like this for the whole flight.
right.
Because everybody's fighting for the elbow, the elbow
Sure.
armrest there. So I'm kind of like, I'm the youngest guy on the road, so I'm just sitting there, and I'm just kind of, man. When I got off that flight, I said, yeah. I said, I don't think I could do this. I said, I don't think my mom would want to come out and see me play. So, for me, it was a fun experience, but it definitely put, the stamp on it that I was, wanting to stay home and enjoy everything that came with that.
Yeah, and boy, you had great success at LSU as well. All conference, all American. I mean, you're a great player.
Absolutely.
So you won in high school, you won at the college level, you've won at the professional level. I mean, you're a winner. I mean, you're around winning
Absolutely.
programs. I mean, you're a big part of that. Any other sports that you played in your younger years that helped you become the football player that you've become?
Well, I was always just active. Like I loved playing sports. I was always just a competitor naturally. So I mean, I grew up. My whole family would play sports. I had two older sisters that ran track.
Really?
My mom played basketball. My dad was a boxer.
Wow.
I had an uncle that played basketball. He was like 6'7". I had and so for me, kind of coming up behind all that, I used to go to my sister's track meets and stuff like that, and just seeing like how bad I wanted my sister to win. I mean, it gives me chills now just thinking about it, and just seeing her come out. She used to run hurdles, so when you're watching girls run hurdles, like I mean, they're getting over them hurdles. They was rolling, and I think it was like her first. It was probably she ran track 1 year in high school, and she got a scholarship to go run in college. So for me, it was like she was already naturally just a great athlete, and it was her first time ever doing this, and she's already succeeding at doing this.
Hmm.
So for me, just getting that chance to see my sister run, I think really kind of like brought something out of me because I was obviously at a young age. So and just naturally already being a competitor, and playing basketball, all the time in the neighborhood, playing football all the time in the neighborhood. I mean, anything with a ball, we were playing.
Sure.
So, you know, that's kind of how I grew up, and I think that kind of just molded me into who I
Man, I'll tell you what, heck of a gene pool you have in your family, man. Everybody,
am.
everybody was an athlete. Your mom, your
Mhm.
dad, your uncle, your
Yep.
your siblings. That's just that's really good stuff. So the techniques, you're already familiar with the techniques that Frank Pollack teaches because you had him your first 3 years down there in Dallas. Has he modified any techniques from your first experience with Frank, or is it the foundation pretty much the same from a technique standpoint?
Oh, the foundation is the same. That's one thing about when you have a solid foundation, that thing is not gonna crack.
Yep.
So the foundation is the same. There's a few little nuances here and there that technique things that he's added, but other than that, I mean, the foundation is the same. The way we work is the same, and man, I haven't had this much fun, and I don't know how long I haven't had this fun. I mean, when you really get it, it's like, man, it's like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like when every day you go to work, like when you get home, when you watch film and you watch yourself on film and you see yourself, you know, do something that you can do better. And you really get home, you study, and you sit here and you watch it for hours, you're like, hey, that second step has to hit the ground sooner. If I have to get that when I make contact, I need to make sure my hands are here. I need to make sure that my feet are in the ground and I'm able to get going in the direction that I need to go. When I'm able to sit here and watch what I'm doing in practice at home, because it's a bunch of drills that we do, which is awesome. So I get to watch all these different drills, and then and I'm excited. Now I'm excited. I can't wait for practice the next day, because I'm going in there and I'm like, hey, like I know what I can do better on this drill. So here we go. Like, and having a guy like Jonah. So, when the tackles go, and it's the left side and the right side, so it's me and Jonah, and he's going left, I'm going right. But when you cut on the tape and you see, you know, just us competing within each other, it's just pushing us to be the best versions of ourselves, you know, because we know we're working hard, but at the same time, you know, I want to get my feet in the ground faster than he gets his feet in the ground. And he's a hell of a player. But that's the mindset, because we're trying to bring the best out of each other. And we're trying to show the guys that's going to do the drill next, and the guys, that's watching, this is how we work. This is how we continue to get better. This is how when it comes kickoff, we know we're ready, because we've trained and we've drilled it. So it's nothing to think about. Now we can just go out here and play. We can beat guys to the punch because we've put the work in, and that's what it's all about.
I love to go down and watch the offensive line when you guys are this stage of the off season. Doing your individual drills, and Frank's going through all the reps. Rep after rep after rep. Repetition breeds comfort level and success and all that. And I love watching the offensive lineman going through all that. I remember doing it with a line coach that I had by the name of Jim McNally, who same type of mindset as Frank Pollack. And I'll tell you what, man, day one, I'm watching LC and I'm like, dude has sweet feet. Woo, man, got feet now. And then, boy, get those hands and the right hand placement and finishing block. Everything in sports, whether it's hitting a ball, catching a ball, shooting a ball, whatever, starts with your feet to get yourself in position to do it, and ends with your hands. Same thing blocking, man. Your feet have to get you there, get you in the right spot. Man, you got some feet and hands, my man. You're an impressive guy to watch physically. There's no doubt.
Well, I appreciate that, Dave, man. For me, man, I look forward to this, man. I'm in a great place. I love it here, and I'm looking forward to just continue to grind and show these guys the type of pro that I am and the type of guy, and I just want them to know every day that I show up, this is what you're going to get, and that's just my mindset.
Love it. All right, so I got to ask you, open up with the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. First time in franchise history. It's amazing. Franchise has been around for well over 50 years. First time opened at home against Pittsburgh, who's a big division rival. And you know how that division rivalry games, we're talking tiebreakers. You're talking division games are huge. Mm-hmm. But then the very next game, go on the road to Dallas to play the Dallas Cowboys. 4:25 kickoff, piggyback doubleheader, CBS. And LC goes home. LC goes back to Dallas. I mean, have you kind of circled that one on the schedule a little bit, or is it just like I'm just going to approach this as I'd approach any game?
Dave, man, you're a great man. I tell you, you're a great man. Look, I know when I met you, I was like, just the way you talk and the way you like to talk about offensive line play, like I could tell. But so for me, man, I can't even, I can't even explain what that's going to be like.
I hear you.
I can't even explain it because, I practice against those guys every day for, last whatever years, And so for me, man, I can't wait. That's all I can tell you. I cannot wait. And I'm looking forward to, my approach every game is going to be the same. There's no doubt. I don't care who we're playing, where we're playing at. But at the end of the day, obviously, that's a different time. That's a different, that's just a little bit different right there. So, man, I can't wait for it. I cannot wait.
I can't wait to watch you. I mean, that's
I've already been. I talked to my boy Michael Parsons.
I
told him, hey, I say, hey, Micah, I'll see you. So you was my rookie last year. I said, I'll see you. I'll see
Uh.
you. So I can't wait, man. I can't wait. But it's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be two great teams in there, and I'm sure that place is gonna be packed. I'm sure anywhere we go, it's gonna be rocking. No doubt about it. So, but we got to go 1 week at a time, man. So,
Yep.
Pittsburgh, hey, it's gonna be. I think it'll probably be my first time playing Pittsburgh like in a real, other than like a preseason game. Obviously, I believe my was it my third year or second year, Dallas went up to Pittsburgh and played in Pittsburgh and won. But I didn't play in that game. I think I was hurt that year. But so I'm excited, man. To really play a game against such a historic, organization like Pittsburgh and understand what that rivalry means. And man, I mean, what a lot we have to look forward to, and how exciting is that? I mean, not only as a player, but just for the city of Cincinnati, the state of Ohio, and all the Bengal fans all around, all the legends, guys like you.
So in my mind, having played games with a teammate that played for that team the very prior year and played for that team for a while, if I'm a defensive lineman, I'm coming up to LC before that Dallas game and saying, hey, man, your guy over there in the offensive line is playing over there at left tackle. Where's his weakness? What move can I use to exploit him a little bit? And then I'm also asking, if I'm an offensive lineman, I'm coming up, LC, man, these defensive linemen, you practice against them. What technique? What do you think? What would work? I bet you're going to get grilled, man. They're going to be asking you all kinds of questions for that Dallas matchup, ways to take advantage of the Dallas Cowboys in the pits, in the trenches, the offensive and defensive linemen. You ready to hold court, to stand up in front of the classroom and just lecture about the Dallas Cowboys?
Hey, man. Hey, this is my team right here, baby.
I got you.
I'm a Cincinnati Bengal. So, hey, we got to go play Dallas. I'm gonna give you everything I got. That's just what it is, baby, because I want to give my team the best opportunity to win the game. So anything there is that I can share, I'm definitely sharing it.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Breaks? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
Gotta get that body right. That's right. Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out firststarlogistics.com.